words meant nothing to Danny, no matter how he tried to act them out, and the cheating went on until Lummy and the other ants who taught the school were forced to make separate tests, one for Danny and one for all the others at his grade level. The instant result was that by age 12, Danny was soon the only student in his grade level, the others having been put back where they belonged. In the outside world, Danny would have been doing ninth grade work, 2 years ahead of his age. The other kids resented him more than ever, and therefore taunted him or froze him out as a Drekka. "You're not one of us," they said, often in those exact words. During free time, they refused to let him come along on any of their escapades. He was never chosen for a team. He was never told when one of the ants was sharing out cookies or some other treat, and he always had to check his drawer for spiders, snakes, or dog poo. He got used to it quickly, and he knew better than to tell any of the adults. What good would it do him? How much fun would he have if some adult forced the others to take him along? What kinds of pranks would they do if they had been whipped for pooing his clean clothes? So in this idyllic world of fairies and ghosts, gods and talking animals, Danny was a profoundly solitary child. He knew everybody. Everybody was kin to him. But he had been made ashamed of everything he did well, and even more ashamed of everything he could not do, and he regarded even those of the cousins who treated him kindly as if their kindness were pity. For who could genuinely like a boy so unworthy, whose existence meant no more than this, that the bloodlines of the North family were weak and getting weaker, with Danny the weakest of them all? The irony was that Danny had been kept as a child apart since he was born, but for the opposite reason. His father, Alf, a rock brother with an affinity for pure metals, had found a way to get inside the steel of machines and make them run almost without friction and without lubrication. It was such a useful and unprecedented skill that he had been made ruler of the family and was therefore renamed as Odin, but Danny called him Baba. Danny's mother, Gerd, was only slightly less remarkable, a light mage who had learned to change the color of reflected light so that she could make things nearly invisible, or hide them in shadows, or make them glow as bright as the sun. For years, Alf and Gerd had been forbidden to marry by old Gish, who was then the Odin, for fear that the joining of two such potent bloodlines might create something awful. A gate mage, which the Norths were forbidden ever to have again, or a man mage, which all the families were sworn to destroy. But when Gish retired after losing the last war, and machine mage Alf was made Odin in his place, the family voted almost unanimously to allow the marriage. Danny's birth was the result, as close to a royal child as the Norths had had in many generations. In his early childhood, Danny was pampered by all the adults. He was the golden boy, and great things were expected of him. He had been bright as a child, quick to read, clever with all the family languages, dexterous with his fingers, an athletic runner and leaper, curious to a fault, and clever of tongue so he could make almost anyone laugh. But as he got older, these traits could not make up for his utter lack of harmony with any of the magics of the family. Danny tried everything. He gardened alongside the cousins who had a way with herbs and trees and grasses, the ones who, as adult mages, would continue to make the North farms so astonishingly productive. But the seeds he planted grew weakly, and he could not feel the throbbing pulse of a tree. He roamed the woods with those who had a way with animals, the ones who, if they could only form a deep bond with wolf or bear, or, failing everything grand, squirrel or snake, would become eye friend or claw brother, and roam the world in animal shape whenever they wished. But the creatures ran from him, or snarled and snapped at him, and he made no friends among the beasts. He tried to understand what it meant to serve stone or water, wind or the electricity of lightning in the air. But the stones bruised his fingers and moved for him only if he threw them. The wind only blew his hair into a tangled mop.